Hi, Teacher Linda here from Nature Nurture, online until we meet again, outdoors. Well, I am so excited to be here out in this beautiful, beautiful day out in Golden Gate Park. There's no one around. I've got an entire field to myself. And that's really good because I don't need to wear my mask at the moment because I'm definitely 6 feet apart. I'm doing social distancing, and that's just what we're doing these days. And so I'm out here with the birds and the bees and slugs and ants. Oh my gosh, there's so many cool things to see. Well, I wanted to give you a Groundo story today, but before I do that, I wanted to remind you, just a friendly reminder, that some of the things we do for good character when we're out in nature include one, when you're out and there's paths around, generally you want to stay on the paths unless there's a lot of green grass around that is a field that's obvious. That's okay to walk on. But if you're on a trail somewhere and you're hiking, you want to stay on the trail. And the reason for that is that the trail is for people and off trail is for the animals. So that's kind of like, that's their home, and we want to respect that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if you're out on a hike, the other thing you want to do is use your walking feet. Now you'll find out in this coming story that Groundo does not use his walking feet. He does not stay on the trail, and he runs into a couple of challenges. But good thing that his friends, Stinky, Pinky, Winky, Blinky, and of course Chicken, are around to help him out. Okay, are you ready? That's just 2 rules. We can do more later if you'd like. So, once upon a time, I'm going to put my mask down. Once upon a time, there was a child named G for Groundo, and he got into a lot of the letter T for trouble, indeed. One day, Groundo was out on a hike with his mom and his dad and his big brother, Rocco, and his little sister, Daisy. It's D for Daisy and R for Rocco. And you already know G for Groundo. That's sign language. We can talk about that another time. But anyway, back to the story. Are you ready? Great. Settle down. Settle in. We're going for a Groundo ride. Oh, I did that already. I get so confused. Do you ever get confused? Anyway, they're on the trail. That's the whole point. They're on the trail on a hike, and everybody's having such a good time, and they're listening. Shh, see if you hear anything now. I hear some birds. That's another really cool thing to do when you're out on a walk or a hike. Just stop every once in a while and listen. Close your eyes. That way you're not distracted by things that you might see. Well, anyway, Groundo's on this hike, and all of a sudden, they're on a trail, and he starts to run. Whoa, he goes so fast. What? And his mom calls out, Groundo, come here, you little scampy. And he says, what? And he walks back and he says, what, Mom? And his mom says, Groundo, please use your walking feet when you're on the path. It shows good character. And Groundo said, oh, I forgot. And his mom said, that's okay. I know you're still learning. So they continue on, and his mom is walking, his dad is walking, Rocco's walking, Daisy's walking, and even Groundo is walking. But then all of a sudden, Groundo sees something off trail. He hears something off trail, and he thinks, oh my gosh, I want to go see what that is. So what does he do? He steps right into the big patch of nature. There's plants and flowers and dirt. And of course, on the dirt, lots of times are bugs and little animals, maybe little birds, little slugs. And so Groundo walks right through where the animals live. and he's totally off trail. Urgh, not good character. Oh my dear. And his mom calls out, Groundo, come here, you little scampy. And Groundo says, what, Mom? And his mom says, Groundo, please stay on the trail. No going off the trail. So Groundo said, oh, I forgot. And she said, that's okay. I know you're still learning. So then they're walking along, and right on the side of the trail, you won't believe it, but a little slug is moving along so slowly. And Groundo shouts out to his mom and his dad and his brother Rocco and his sister Daisy, oh, I found a slug, come see, come see. And so all of a sudden, they come over. He goes to pick up the slug. He doesn't even put dirt on his hands first. Ah, Groundo, please, please, stop. And then they hear, doodle-doodle-doop, doodle-doodle-doop. Who's coming? Who is that? It's Groundo's 5 friends with silly names. Stinky, Pinky, Winky, Blinky, and of course, Chicken. And they say, Groundo, stop. And he said, what? I found a slug, I found a slug. And they said, we know you found a slug, but don't forget, when you find and you want to pick up any kind of bug, even slugs, salamanders, anything that is in nature, is part of nature, you want to put dirt on your hands first. I'm going to show you. I'll be right back. Some people think you need to put a lot of dirt in your hand like this. That's not what we're talking about. I'll be right back. We're talking about this. I rubbed my hand on the dirt, and now my hand smells like the earth. It smells really good. And even the other hand, I can move them together. That way I can pick up with either hand, I can pick up the slug. And the reason why we do that is because the slug is used to the smell of the earth, not used to people's skin or the smell of our skin. So that's a good character thing to do. So Groundo reached down, he got some dirt on his hands, he rubbed them up, and then he picked up the slug from the head part. And you can tell it's the head because it's got those little, they look like antenna, but they're feelers. And then on the side is a little, kind of like a little hole, and that's where they breathe from. And Groundo just picked up from the front, and they said, whoa, Groundo, stop. And he said, what? I put dirt on my hands? And they said, yes. But when you touch a slug or an animal, you want to pay attention to where you're picking it up from. You never want to pick it up from its head. It's like somebody picking you up from your face, you know? Wouldn't you rather somebody pick you up from under your arms or something like that? And Groundo said, oh, I never thought of that. So then that's what he did. He stopped and he reached to the back of the slug and he picked it up very gently, and he even put his other hand underneath, which is really, really important, because if you're holding a bug or an animal with one hand and you have no hand underneath and you drop it for some reason, whoa, it's a long way down to the ground. So you always want to have your hand underneath wherever you're holding the animal. And if you have your animal in your hand, the bug in your hand here, then you want to put your other hand underneath. That way, again, if it crawls off, it will fall right into your other hand. And then when he goes in this hand, you put this hand underneath. And so Groundo learned all about that that day, and that's what he did. And his friends were so happy, and Groundo felt pretty happy, and his mom and dad and big brother Rocco and little sister Daisy, they all cheered Groundo on. They said, go Groundo, go! Go Groundo, go! And so he learned about walking on the trail, staying on the trail, how to put dirt on his hands, how to pick the slug or bug up from the back, not their face or their head part, and what else? Oh yeah, and then holding it here and having your other hand here. And then if the bug goes here, you put your other hand underneath. He learned all of that in just one day. And he felt really happy and very proud of himself. He's like, oh, I feel really proud of myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back. And that's what he did. And everybody had such a wonderful day. And that was their time out in nature. Well, I hope you have really good days in nature. And I look forward to seeing you again. This is Teacher Linda signing off online until we meet again outdoors.